Bueno, primero quería presentaros a nuestro siguiente ponente, es Lars Binau, y tiene una amplísima formación en cuanto a estrategia y liderazgo en diversas universidades, tanto europeas como de Estados Unidos. Además, ha participado en un programa internacional de desarrollo de líderes para directores de bibliotecas del futuro que se desarrolló durante 2016. En estos últimos años, los últimos 11 años, ha sido director de varios departamentos de la Biblioteca de la Universidad Técnica de Dinamarca. Y ahora, en estos momentos, es responsable de instalaciones e infraestructuras de esta biblioteca. Está trabajando sobre todo en la adaptación de las instalaciones de su biblioteca, de su universidad, a un nuevo entorno innovador de aprendizaje, dentro de toda esta tendencia que está a nivel mundial. En concreto, está trabajando su objetivo más importante es transformar la biblioteca en una Smart Library. O sea, un lugar, que es lo que nos va a explicar ahora, un lugar donde los estudiantes, investigadores pueden trabajar e investigar con estas tecnologías inteligentes. Su ponencia se titula Cómo conseguir una verdadera asociación del CRAI, un laboratorio digital, con sus usuarios, retos y oportunidades. Y bueno, ya os dejo con él y adelante, Lars.
Thank you, Blanca. Yeah? Okay. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for having me today, especially to Karma, who invited me to speak here today, and actually visited our library 2 weeks ago. No, last week. My name is Lars Binau, and I'm from the Technical University of Denmark, and today I'm going to be talking to you about what might be called a digilab. So I'm not exactly sure what a digilab is, but this might be a version of it. But first of all, I want to talk to you about how we try to run our library and how we try to collaborate with our stakeholders and the challenges and opportunities regarding this. This is a statement that by Walt Disney that I've lived my whole life by, and I would recommend that you all do that too. Dream and then try to reach those dreams. At our library we have a media lab, and we're working with virtual reality and augmented reality in that media lab. And right now I'm recording 360 camera, so you can have virtual reality glasses on, and so you can practice presenting in front of an audience like this. So students can come down and try to practice that. So, just so you know that I'm recording. At DTU, we're 6,000 employees and 11,000 students. So, and I know there's a lot of employees that we have to take care of as a library compared to students. A little bit about myself. Denmark is right there. Spain is down here. And I've lived most of my life in Denmark. I've also lived in Boston for a few years, where I studied accounting. And so I have a lot of experience with numbers and spreadsheets. Back then it was on paper. It wasn't digital, but a lot of things have improved since, and Excel came. So this is my family, and I have 4 children, and I can't imagine living a life without having a phone and being digital that way and having 4 children, because the logistics of having that many is just crazy. This was too fast. all of us have probably faced what we are facing at our library, budget cuts. Over the last 15 years, libraries have been closed in Denmark, been centralized. I've been part of it myself too. When I started at DTU, we had 15 libraries on campus. We now have 2. But you've probably all faced this, that having budget cuts. So when you see this, remember that you are faced with the reality of either doing one thing or the other. Sound? Is the sound on? You need to turn the sound on. What? We tried it earlier. It worked earlier. Okay. We need a technician. The plug is in. There's no sound on the speaker. We tested it earlier today, and it worked. So hopefully it'll work again.
Mira, prueba ahora. Hola. Probar ahora a ver.
Well, I will pass this, and then hopefully they'll fix it before the next video comes. Huh? It works. So lean back and enjoy.
They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. Sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines. Where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
People will come, Ray.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
Yes. I hope that wasn't ruined, the magic right now, with all the troubles. But this is what we have to believe in with libraries. People will come, but we have to adjust to what our users need. That is what we've tried at our library for many years now, at least for the last 5. I've had this video in mind. At DTU, we have 3 main campuses. At 2 of them, we have libraries. And this is one of the libraries, it's a small one. And this is the big campus. And up there is the library. And what I'm going to talk about today is mainly in that big library, that big central library. So the agenda will be a little bit about the learning paradigm that is essential for how we do things at our library, collaboration, digital learning, and at the end, challenges and opportunities regarding this. So we believe at our library that the way you think about learning is very similar to the way you think about science. And social constructivism is the way we believe that learning takes place. And when you believe that knowledge is created, and if it's how it becomes present in our head, then you have to run the library that way too. And that too reflects and has impact on how we design our spaces and how we design our services that we do in the library. As an example is events, and how we design our labs. So, some key words on how we try to run this library and how we run the services: social constructivism, project-oriented, that students, all the students are working in projects at our university. We're very focused on dialogue, because we believe that through dialogue, that's when you learn. You might have reflection with yourself too, and you might learn that way too, but the best way to learn is actually through dialogue. When you try to put words into action and explaining what takes place, that's when you actually learn something and you capture it in your head and remember it afterwards. Things has to be experimental. You have to try things out, and you have to be able to fail. But then you try again, and you learn by failing all the time. You have to use real problems, because that's much more motivating for students and all of us if we're really trying to solve a real problem. And co-creation, that we're all in it together. This is how we're learning and how we're creating things in the library, that we are working with all our stakeholders. So essentially, this is the skills that we believe will be important for students in the 21st century. We don't know what kind of jobs they're going to be 10 years from now. We can only imagine. But we definitely know that a lot of job titles 10 years from now doesn't even exist at this moment. So I've tried to picture this with pictures. And you can see up here, we have our library 50 years ago. That library was not built for people, it was built for books. But we've turned it into a library where people can be and feel at home and actually study in the library. Same thing we've done at DTU with the auditoriums. We're not building auditoriums like we have here today. This is ancient. I mean, this is how you built schools 2,000 years ago. So right down there, we're building it this way so people can work in groups, and teachers should not be talking more than 10, 15 minutes at a time, and then students should be interacting with what you've been saying. So we're working very closely with the the faculty at DTU. And up here, you can see this actually represents how we've, for many years, thought about learning, that learning information was something that you could just put into heads. Professors could write it down, people could read a book, and then suddenly that knowledge would be in your head. That doesn't work that way. You have to do it through reflection, through dialogue. That's definitely the best way. So we're working close with the teachers at the university to find out how do they teach, how are they trying to evolve their teaching. And the lecture-based learning up top here, that's probably what most people are doing, or most teachers are doing. But they're trying out new ways of teaching too, because they want to improve. It's not all of them that are on board yet, but they eventually will, I think. One of the new ones that you probably you might have tried too, is lecture capturing and active learning exercises. Lecture capturing is like right now, this session is being taped, and then somebody else can see it somewhere else after. But this might not be the best way of learning. So what we think is maybe team-based learning is the best way of teaching and learning, because it's more co-creative, that everybody is taking part of the learning process. And by being in this project, we actually get involved with the stakeholders of the library that we didn't really before. So, yeah, that's one example of trying to get in touch with the stakeholders of the library. DTU has many strategic objectives, but for us as a library, one of the main ones is to build and have competitive experimental facilities and infrastructure. And the next few examples is what we've tried to do here. Something missing right here. But we try to work with this crowdsourcing term. Usually it's used on the internet to get funding for projects. But we're using it in a library way, saying that we don't have the budget to do everything at the library. So we have an open invitation for all organizations at our university to come and help us build a library the way that we all want. So we're co-creating the library, and they're all helping. An example is the IT service, which is now being part of the library, doing a service there, and the Career Center, which now is part of the library, so the students can go through the library and get help on their CVs. And the Career Center also arranges events in the library where companies come into the library and tells how engineers are working in their company. So it's like a symbiosis with them. In 2013, after many workshops and interviews with all our stakeholders, we decided to renovate the library and essentially build what we called Information Square. It's a one-stop shop where students should be able to come in and get information about everything that goes on at the university. So, and one part of it, right here, is the concept walls. We have about 40 student organizations at our university, and we had workshops with all of them, and they needed a place where they could advertise for their organizations and their messages that they wanted to get across to other students. So they needed like a totem pole where they could meet around and where they could carve their messages into the ads that they wanted to spread. But the architect said, we probably shouldn't have totem poles all over the library. But she came up with the idea of having walls, like Facebook wall, where the organization then can post their messages in the library, and they can meet around it. Like here's an example where they have a meeting around their wall, and where other people can come and see what their message is. Another thing is the event area. We wanted to get in touch with all of the university. And what best way to do that is to have an event area right in the center of the library. We have many different events. We have about 70 to 80 events a year, many different kinds, from 20 to 150, and then we also have a few that are very big. The panel discussions, many things. And this gives us an excuse actually to get in touch with the faculty all over the university. They want to do lunch talks in the library. They want to tell about their projects to students and other faculty, and they do that in the library. So it's not just students, it's also researchers telling about their recent research. And this is an example of once a year we also have this competition right in the center of the library.
Velkommen til dette års RoboCup-finale her på DTU. Vi skal have næste hold på banen, det er Team Jasmin. Så går det stærkt her. Indtil videre er det 17 point. Lige 3 point ekstra. 25 point. Det bliver svært at slå. Så skulle det være August nu. Det kører derudad. Så skal den op ad bakken. Det var 7 point her. Sådan. Kuglen er i kassen. Den venter. Og kører. 26 du fører, August. Så nu tror jeg, at vi har en vinder på konkurrencen. August.
Altså, jeg har det rigtig godt med at vinde førstepladsen, fordi at min robot jeg har været rigtig lang tid om at programmere den her robot. Jeg har brugt hele påskeferien på det, og så er det dejligt, at man kan vise, hvad den kan.
Vi havde egentlig ikke regnet med, at vi ville gå hen og få en anden plads. Så det var lidt over al forventning.
Det må jeg sige, vi er bare virkelig glade.
It's funny, actually, this year, it was a kid from 7th grade that won the competition. It's not just for students, it's for everybody. So it just shows that you don't have to be that old to learn how to program and use these things. The kids these days are way ahead of us, and it's one of the reasons why we have many student workers. I have 8 full-time employees myself, but I have about 35 student workers that we recruit straight from the university. We also have very big events where we have between 3,000 to 6,000 visitors. Bazaars, summits, and the yearly party for the university also takes place in the library. So what's important for us is to have a very flexible space where we can actually take all the furniture out and put new furniture in according to whatever we want to do. We have an exhibition area where all the institutes can use to show their projects, their successes, whatever their research they have right now. Or else they only are there on a web page, and not everybody sees a web page. At the library, we have 2,500 visitors a day. So a lot of people walk by these exhibitions. So this is an example of some students who every year takes part in a competition, Roadrunners, where the car has to go as far as it can on 1 gallon of fuel. And it has won a couple of times. Then there's the Media Lab that we started up in 2013 too. It consists of a walk-in studio where you can walk in from off the street. You don't need to know much about the recording facilities. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, you can get half an hour of introduction. But after that, you're on your own. But we've made it so easy that everybody should be able to start it up by themselves. Next to it, we have a room called post-production, where you can go in and you can edit the videos that you've been making. And in there, too, we have students doing the radio program of the university. They're doing in that room. And they're doing podcasts of research at the university, too. And recently, we opened this, the virtual reality and augmented reality. And the idea is to expand this so we become, it's very central for the whole university within these facilities, because that's what we are very good at. It's running facilities. We might not do all the research, but we have the facilities and we are very good at running it. This is an example of some of the teachers that I was talking to, that they're teaching the children how to weld. And they're doing it this old-fashioned way, and needs ventilation, and it's very expensive. But you can do that with virtual reality. So you can actually teach children how to weld with virtual reality and do it with many different metals. So that's one project we're working on. And Forbes has said that this is just going to be humongous. This is going to be very big, already by 2025. And so we've connected up with a center at DTU, Center for Digital Learning Technology, and they work together with companies on how to teach a better way together with technology in schools. And they are actually using the facilities at the library. And as I said, we are creating content too, and we'll see where it goes, but this is where we're going to expand, definitely. We're also helping out with MOOCs. We have actually done one ourselves as a library. We did that in 2016, probably the first library in the world to make a MOOC. You can actually go in and try it out. You'll learn something. Yeah, so that gives us an idea of how to make MOOCs ourselves. So we have a better understanding on helping other teachers to make MOOCs. So this is our vision, this is our model for our media lab. And we have a close connection to a division at DTU called the Learning Lab, which has a lot of knowledge about the didactical and pedagogical issues with teaching, but also on how to make videos and doing all that. So then we can offer many different services for the rest of the university and students. We're doing workshops with students, and we don't separate them. We just have workshops and then everybody comes. Recently, we found out there's a new need that researchers need to make videos when they apply for funding for projects now. So they send not just a written application, but they also make videos for these applications. So this is a new need that we need to help them with. So I have a short video of how this Media Lab works.
Behind me is the new self-service walk-in studio available for students as well as teachers at DTU, basically everybody who has a DTU access card. When you first enter the room, everything turns on automatically, the light, the equipment, and all you need to do is to take your DTU access card, go to this desk and the control panel and place it on the card reader. And as you do so, you'll see a selection of options coming forth. So the most typical option would be to make a presentation. And when you choose presentation, it will use the front camera and turn on the screen. So for instance, I want to make a presentation with the screen showing the image from my laptop. So I take the HDMI cable, connect to my laptop here, and then I need to select the source. So I go to the source selector and say I want HDMI 1 as the input for the computer, and on the screen you'll see in a moment the screen from my computer. So now I got my computer hooked up to the system. If I want to have the camera film me, I can use the control panel here to select camera 1. And when I press camera 1, you see now me and my cameraman and the screen in the background. And that's a great way to make a video, having the screen as the backdrop for you and your presentation. But the screen needs to get to the right height, so you go to the side where you have buttons that will allow you to bring the screen down to the right height. Around there, in my case. I logged in, I hooked up my computer, I brought the screen down in the right height, and before I'm ready to record, I need to hook up a microphone. So you find a body pack like this one in the back of the walk-in studio. It works the same way as in DTU's lecture halls. So you just open here, turn it on, wear the clip on your shirt, and then you're ready to record. When you wear the microphone, it's very important that you confirm you have audio levels right here. And as you can see, we do. And then all I need to do is to press the record button. When you're done recording, you basically press the record button again and the recording will stop. And when you have done that, the recording will be moved to a web server from where you can download it. So now you go to podcast.llab.dtu.dk, you log in with your DTU credentials, and then you will see in your media inbox the file you just recorded has been put there for you only. You can then download it and you can process it in any way you want.
So then we've thought very much about, okay, what skills do students need in the future? And This is our latest project called Smart Library that we have been working on for about 5 years. And it's a lot about data. And as you can see, these young people, they're already very digital. But they will be even more digital in the future. So we put this little video together. Some of you might have seen it already on the
Visionen for DTU Smart Library er at skabe et indendørs testlaboratorium, hvor DTU Bibliotek, forskere, undervisere og DTU studerende kan udvikle, afprøve og præsentere smarte teknologier. Vi ønsker at skabe et læringsmiljø i verdensklasse, arbejde målrettet med facility management og afprøve data innovation, data literacy på DTU Bibliotek og på DTU som et hele.
Inden for læringsmiljø, så arbejder vi meget med det her koncept om, at komforten skal være i top for studerende. Vi ved fra forskning, at hvis indeklimaet er godt, jamen så er der større chance for læring. Vi har alle sammen forskellige grænser for, hvornår vi synes, at det er komfortabelt for os. Det handler både om temperatur, og om lys og træk. Facility management handler om at udnytte vores fysiske ressourcer bedst muligt. Vi kender alle sammen problemet med, at vi har booket et møderum, men vi kommer ikke. Men vi får aldrig meldt afbud til det der sådan, grupperum. Med facility management en højere grad fokus på, at studerende kan vide, hvornår der er pladser på biblioteket, og i hvilke områder der er plads. Så hvis vi bliver gode til det her på biblioteket, jamen, så kan vi også blive bedre til det på resten af DTU.
Der er mange, der taler om big data, men der er ikke ret mange, der kan forstå sig på det, fordi hvad er det egentlig for noget? Man har en masse data, man stiller til rådighed, og vi vil gerne spejle vores bygningsdata, give mulighed for at låne dem ud til de studerende og til andre interesserede, til forskere. Så derved har vi lavet en SQL-database, som vi spejler herover, som man kan låne af bibliotekets folk, altså af bibliotekarerne. De går simpelthen fra at låne bøger ud til at låne data ud.
Vi vil udvikle en webapp, der skal hjælpe bibliotekets brugere og ansatte med at finde bøger og journaler nede i kælderen.
Ideen er, at de connecter sig til ens smartphone via hjælp af Bluetooth, og så bruger den Bluetooth til at finde ud af, hvor langt du er fra den beacon.
Den skal kunne sige til dig simpelthen, at du skal gå ned ad trappen her, og så skal du gå ud her, og så 4 reoler ned, og så på hylde nummer 6 fra toppen, der står den.
DTU Bibliotek inviterer alle interesserede på og uden for DTU til at deltage i arbejdet med at udvikle smarte teknologier og smarte løsninger og teste deres produkter eller idéer i DTU Bibliotek.
Yes, sorry that this was in Danish. It was probably tough to understand. Maybe you could read the subtitles. This is a little teaser of what I'm going to be talking to you about this afternoon. And I'll be going more in depth with that. But we've come up with this vision about the Smart Library. And I'll give you a few seconds to read it. I don't know if it'll be translated. Okay. Is it translated? It's tough to know what goes on. So this is the vision for the library, and that came after many workshops and many interviews with the researchers and companies that wanted to help us out with building this idea. One of the companies that creates the light, we have a very close connection to them because the idea to begin with was to build all the sensors into the light, but it wasn't possible for them to start out with. So right now they're actually developing and creating light with sensors in it, so you don't have to do it separately for commercial purposes or for companies and stuff. So, and in the process, a lot of researchers, there's a lot of research going on at the university within indoor climate, within lighting, and everything else. So we got in touch with a lot of researchers just because we started this project up. This is an organizational chart of DTU and all the institutes at the bottom. I think we probably talked to most of them about being involved in this project, and they're all very welcome, or they really wanted to join it, and they are getting ready to use the data for their classes this coming semester. So some of the student projects, we have about 8 projects that have started up in with students since January 1st. Bachelor projects, master projects, but this one is about making an app so you can find the way directly to a book using iBeacons that have been put up in the library. And this project is about if you can take a bunch of cheap sensors and so you can put into a room and then test out the indoor climate and test if the system actually works. It's called the CTS system, but you probably don't know that. Students trying to work on smart lockers where the lockers are connected to the Wi-Fi, so you with an app can open and close the locker or maybe share the locker with other people. Sensors being built into chairs to see if they're occupied or not. Working with AR, we have some students trying to find out if they can measure where we put up the sensors, because a lot of times you put up sensors and you have no idea where you put them afterwards. But you need to know for research exactly where that sensor was placed. So what they're working on right now is to put up a sensor, and then when you do that with the phone, then you can record the longitude and latitude and the height from the ground, and then you have an exact position of where the sensor was placed. And then you can use actually that data for research. So the students are helping us on the way. And we're having these hubs where companies are invited to come in with their data problems. And then we have students and researchers trying to hack and trying to solve those problems for companies. So we're really running this collaborative approach at the library. This is actually one visualization I've made myself, but right here I imagine that this is the library and this is our network within this smart library. And this is what actually we can use all this data for, is to visualize and understand data in a different way and understand reality in a different way. And the university has also decided that all of the campus will be test facilities for students and researchers now. So we're not just going out into the real world and testing. We're testing it on campus before we take it outside of campus. So what has been the challenges within this? One of the things is speaking other professionals' language. The researchers, understanding what their research field is. is not always easy. But when you do sit down and drink a lot of coffee with them and try to understand them, then they start to get more respect of you too, if you understand where they're coming from and you understand what will help their career and what will make it easier for them to teach or to do research. It's been a little tough too with the other administrative units because this is a field that's not really, is this the IT department or is it the library or is this the estates? Who's doing this? And should the library really be doing this? But we've turned the library into like a sandbox for testing out these new methods that we can then upscale to the rest of the university later on and save a lot of money. So it's pretty much to try to make our stakeholders glow and grow. So the opportunities to get involved is that you get dialogue with all the stakeholders. You got to know where they come from, and you got to learn with them. So user-centered learning, you got to know what their real problem is. You got to know what makes their clock tick. That is really the opportunity of starting up projects like this. Because if you don't know their needs, you can't really help them. So, thank you for now. This was a little teaser before this afternoon. Any questions? So, any questions? No, the microphone is not right there. But it's okay. I'll be down here afterwards if there's any questions. Oh, there's one.
Yes, this is Professor Rosana Cantavella from the University of Valencia. I'm a professor of humanities, and I'll start by thanking you for your very interesting presentation. This is really something new. But of course, as a humanities professor, I wondered, we humanities people usually live in libraries. I haven't seen any place for us in your project. Maybe there are more initiatives that you haven't shown us. So that would be very, very interesting to know, because, you know, we are very interested in digital humanities, for example, in resources related to texts, to data related to text. So I would be very, very interested in learning what are you doing in this area. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yes, we are just a university for engineers. So yes, it's very different. And I think that our smart library project will be more relevant to everybody else who's not or more into humanities, because we do believe that everything will be digital and datafied in the future. And I'll get back to that this afternoon. So I do believe that there's another way to do it too, for your libraries too. because it all will be digital, or is. I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah, I hope. Yeah.
Could you summarize what has been the impact of all these changes in library staff? Has been a good reaction? Has been some reluctance to accept changes?
Yes, but this has actually taken place over many years. So it's actually 15 years ago that we took the books out of the library and put them in the basement. So it's been a change that has been going on for like 15 years. And about 10 years ago, we took the librarian out of the library and put back office. So now we don't have librarians in the library. So we have made big changes. So, but they are on call in the library, the librarians, if they're needed. So, but we are very user-centered library, and we're only there for their needs. But they have gotten used to it too. And they're involved more back office with a lot of these projects. So they're happy about it now. Yeah.
Lo digo en español. Buenos días, soy Maribel,
Hello.
de la Universidad de Alcalá. Quería saber qué perfil profesional tenéis. ¿Solo bibliotecarios? ¿El perfil profesional que tenéis? ¿Tenéis informáticos? ¿Tenéis bibliotecarios? ¿O solo son bibliotecarios? Los que trabajan en la biblioteca.
I don't
contigo.
understand.
No, ¿se lo puede traducir?
Workers are all librarians, or they have another skills like technology.
Yeah. We have a library where about half of the employees are librarians, but and then we have programmers and other kind of staff too. But it's because we program our own library system. So our discovery system we made ourselves. Yeah. And then of course we have 35 student workers too.
Good morning. This is Pedro from the Innovation Service of the Valencia University. You have said in this library you are producing MOOC. In our service we do also produce MOOC, and my question is, who does promote the production of MOOC in your university? Is it directly the library, or is the university itself, and how does it work to produce a MOOC in your university?
I didn't hear the whole question. I don't know if all of you heard it, but it was something about how do we do MOOCs? I mean, the only thing that we as a library do is that we help them tape the videos that are needed for them, and then we supply the information that they need to link to within the MOOCs. And so we have adjusted our library system so the teachers can make one link to all the articles that they want students to read. So when students press that, it goes into the library system and fetch everything that they need in there. That's all we do. Yeah.
So you provide, so to say, the technical support, but maybe it is the university who promotes the production of MOOC.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually the didactical department at the university used to be a part of the library, but is not anymore. So we know them very well, and we work close with them. Yeah. Finito? Yes, yes. I'll be here this afternoon too. Yeah.
Pasamos ahora a la mesa redonda, aunque vamos un poquito más